The sprawling observation deck of the Aurora's Edge, flagship of the Helios conglomerate, was bathed in the cold blue light of distant stars. From here, one could see entire planetary systems twinkle in the darkness, like tiny gems scattered across the void. Amid the grandeur, one figure reclined in an opulent chair. A picture of calm authority, Commander Cale, heir to the vast Draven Industries and one of the richest and most feared men in the galaxy. Yet tonight, Cale's mind was occupied not with interstellar trade routes or corporate acquisitions, but with something far smaller and infinitely more unpredictable. A boy named Taran, the 10-year-old son of his family's personal servant, Leora Cale, had always been meticulous, careful to separate the cold machinery of wealth and power from the human lives under his roof. Yet there had always been one lingering doubt he could never shake. Could the children of those around him possess the courage, honesty, and integrity he so valued, or were they doomed to mimic the moral compromises their parents had made in servitude? Tonight he would find out. Cale had overheard Taran crying softly in the quarters below, a sound so faint even trained ears could have missed it. Leora had been away attending to household matters, and the boy had clearly been left alone. Cale's curiosity was piqued. He had always been fascinated by human instinct and character, particularly in young children who had yet to be shaped or corrupted by the pressures of society. So, he devised a test. He set his luxurious bedroom door ajar, dimmed the lights, and laid down on his bed, pretending to be asleep. His breathing was deep and even, the perfect imitation of slumber. From his vantage point, he could see the corridor leading to the servant quarters. He watched quietly as Taran tiptoed out of his room, the soft glow of a night lamp casting a long shadow behind him. The boy paused at the threshold of Cale's chambers, his small frame trembling. Cale observed without a word. He did not need to. The room was silent, but for the faint hum of the ship's engines. Taran's eyes fell on Cale, and the boy froze. The tension was palpable. The moment stretched thin across the infinite silence of space. Most children would have fled, scared by the vastness and the power of the man before them. Most would have sneaked away quietly, hoping to avoid notice. But Taran did something entirely unexpected. He crept forward, a mixture of curiosity and determination in his gaze. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, he said, "Sir, I think you dropped this." From behind his back, the boy produced a small, crude model spaceship he had been crafting from scraps. Cale's eyes flickered in surprise. The child had dared to approach, had dared to interact with a figure of unimaginable authority, and yet had done so with honesty and bravery. Cale remained still, his face hidden in shadow, pretending to stir. He watched as Taran held the model out with both hands, waiting for a reaction. The boy's sincerity was unpolished, raw, and yet, somehow, radiant. "I found it under the deck. Thought it belonged to you," Taran stammered, his voice wavering slightly under the weight of the unspoken tension. I didn't know if I should. I mean, you might get mad if I touched it." Cale's heart, long armored against such trivialities, skipped a beat. The boy's honesty was unmistakable. There was no pretense here, no desire for reward, just an instinct to do the right thing. "Good boy," Cale finally murmured, his voice calm, though the words carried immense weight. Taran jumped slightly at the sound, the boy's entire body stiffening. "I wasn't supposed to," Taran began, eyes wide. "I mean, I know I'm not supposed to." Cale waved a hand, a gesture both casual and commanding. It's all right. You did the right thing. The boy stared at him, disbelief etched across his young features. Cale realized that Taran had never expected gratitude or recognition. To him, doing what was right was its own reward. Cale's mind raced. He had spent decades building empires, negotiating mergers and acquisitions that shaped entire star systems. Yet he had never encountered such untainted moral clarity. This child, this small, seemingly insignificant human, boy embodied a courage and honesty that few in the galaxy could claim, and certainly none in Cale's circle. Tell me, Taran, Cale said, sitting up fully now, his presence filling the room. Did you ever doubt yourself, even for a moment? Taran hesitated, then shook his head. No, sir, I just wanted to do what was right. Cale's gaze softened, and for the first time in years, he felt something he rarely allowed himself: hope. Not for himself, not for his empire, but for humanity. Even in the small, quiet corners of the universe, there were sparks of brilliance, of virtue, of courage, and Taran was one of them. Most adults, Cale said quietly, almost to himself, would hesitate. They would think first of reward, of fear, of personal gain. But you acted with integrity, without hesitation. Taran's cheeks flushed. I didn't think about that, sir. I just felt it was right. Cale leaned back, allowing himself a rare moment of admiration. The boy had passed his test not because he had succeeded in some complicated task, but because he had shown the innate human capacity to do good, even when unobserved and unpressured. You are remarkable, Taran, Cale said finally. Do you know what you've shown me tonight? Taran shook his head again, eyes wide with curiosity. You've shown me that even in a galaxy filled with wealth, corruption, and power, there are humans capable of true honesty and courage. You've shown me that character cannot be bought, nor forced, it can only be nurtured, and that is far more valuable than all the stars I can own. The boy's small shoulders straightened with pride, though Cale noticed the humility in his posture. He had acted rightly not for praise, but because it was in his nature. That alone had earned Cale's deepest respect. From that night forward, Cale Draven took a subtle but permanent interest in Taran's upbringing. He arranged for the boy to learn not just academic subjects, but the ethics and philosophy that Cale himself valued most. Taran became the first human in Cale's inner circle, a symbol of the untamed, brilliant potential of his species. Years later, when Taran stood on the bridge of the Aurora's edge, now a young man of 16, Cale watched him handle a delicate negotiation with an alien diplomat. The confidence, integrity, and fearlessness he exhibited were unmistakably the same as that quiet night years ago. Cale smiled, a rare, genuine expression. Humanity, small and seemingly fragile as it was, had once again proven its worth not through weapons or technology, not through wealth or power, but through courage, honesty, and the quiet heroism of a boy who had dared to do what was right. And in that frozen, star-strewn silence of the galaxy, Cale understood a truth he had long suspected but never fully grasped. Sometimes, the greatest power was not in what one commanded, but in what one nurtured. For the boy who had dared to approach a sleeping tycoon with nothing but truth in his heart had changed not just one man, but the course of an entire empire round, perhaps, in small, subtle ways, the galaxy itself. Asterisk.